Hey everyone, how are you? Back off a night off yesterday. We had a night off. I wasn't here. What did I do? I went to a memorial for my granddad, which was pretty good. We all got to have lunch and, reminisce about granddad and look through some old photos and things like that. It was boiling hot. It was like, let me check. If it was 40 equal F. It was wait, that doesn't work. I don't know. It was like 108 Fahrenheit or something yesterday down here. It's the same today, and it's going to be the same tomorrow. It is a heat wave down here at the moment. 5 minutes away. No, we're on live now. Hey Maria, how are you? Good to see you. Gambler, Sean, Marlene Clausen, Moonlight View. Yeah, it might be a bit of a quiet night tonight because we went late. I don't know. Actually, I know that tomorrow you guys go to a different time. Did we go really early or really late? Let's see. What time is it Eastern right now? Eastern time USA. Is it still 9? Wait, it's 7:40, so we're on really early? Is that right? Alright, well, we can do that. Let me check. I'm looking at the time zones. No, it's 9:30 right now. No, it's the right time. Yeah. Tomorrow, right? On Sunday, you guys are gonna go backwards or whatever. Yeah, so tomorrow, if we went live at the same time as we go now, it wouldn't be 9:30 Eastern, it would be 8:30 Eastern. So, yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out with that. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do because I'll explain it to you. So 1 hour forward. Yeah, but that drops an hour for me. I know it sounds confusing, but it actually drops an hour for me. Okay, let's get it straight. Tomorrow, my show time is normally 1 PM local time in Australia, right? But that's actually in the next 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks? Yeah. Over the next couple of weeks, we also move off daylight savings time in Australia. The time goes from something like 1 PM, if I wanted to stick to 9 o'clock Eastern, it goes from 1 PM local time where I am to 11 AM in the morning over the next 3 weeks. It actually changes twice. It goes to midday and then it goes to 11. So I change times twice if I wanted to stay at 9:30 or 9 PM Eastern. It actually changes twice in about a month. It's really, really annoying. I'm not 100% sure what we're gonna do for winter, for Australian winter, because 11 AM in the morning is a real, real tough ask. Um, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do because we can't go if we go at 1, it means it's Trisha's time at 10 o'clock, 10:30. That's the time it would be. Why twice? Because you guys go on to daylight savings for summer, and we come off daylight savings for winter. So it moves like it moves like 3 different time zones in a month. Yeah, everyone just look at your phone tomorrow. Just let the guy who runs the show take care of the start times. Yeah, yep. Alright, so we get one last night, at, everything feeling normal. Yeah, basically, Summer Justice got it. I mean, Summer Justice? No, that's not her name. The Journey to Justice has got it. The Journey to Justice says, "As we go into summer, you move into winter." That is the easy way of explaining it, yeah. We basically switch roles. You guys are coming out of winter, we're going into winter, and we come off daylight savings, you're going onto it. So we do a bit of a time flip. And, yeah, so showtime, if we wanted to stick at 9, doesn't move for you guys, but it moves for me. It moves for me to about 11 a.m. in the morning. Gambler says, "We only change twice a year." How many times does it do for you in a year? Only twice, but because the showtime is tied to American time, for me, it changes, like, 6 times a year. I know that sounds really confusing, but it does. For me, it changes, like, I don't know, 6 times, 5 times, something like that. It's very, very annoying. So, twice a year, once in spring, autumn, and once in the other side of the year coming out of winter, and then you guys going into summer, it changes, like, twice. So, it does that 2 times every 12 months. Yes, but when you're pegging your show against a US time and you're in a different country, it changes more often than that. Yeah. All right. We'll figure out what we're gonna do with the time zones uh from tomorrow. I'll find out what we're gonna do and I'll let you know. Let's talk about Cold Justice. Cold Justice just aired. Great episode, very interesting. This was one of these episodes where it just felt like no one was gonna get a resolution. It really I hate those episodes because whenever you want to watch a Cold Justice episode, you want people to be able to get justice. That's the whole idea, right? The whole idea is that they find justice and someone is held accountable for a decades old murder that no one else could solve but them. Except in these particular episodes where just nothing comes together and they just can't seem to get over the line. This was one of those episodes where they they know who did it. I'm pretty sure they've got, decent evidence. I'm going to show it to you in a second of who committed this murder. The problem is, it's been like 38 years. There wasn't a whole heap of evidence when she went missing. It took them something like 3 decades just to identify her body, and I think a lot of the evidence has disappeared over the years or was not collected at the time. So let's start. This is from their website. Cold Justice seeks to help a daughter find answers 38 years after her mother's death. In the second episode of season 7, that doesn't say. Wait, aren't we on like. that something must have happened here. Um, we're not on the second episode of season 7. We're on the third episode of season 7. So they must have swapped around episodes for some reason before they wrote this. We're actually on episode 3, season 7, not episode 2. Kelly Siegler joins Detective Sergeant Logan Anderson and Detective Todd Corner of the. Oh man, hold on. I actually looked this up before because I was like, I don't know how to pronounce it. And I want to make sure I do the people of Illinois justice. It's Kankakee or that doesn't sound right. Yeah, Kankakee, there we go. Kankakee, there we go. Kankakee Police Department, in the hopes of shedding light on the killing of Jeanette Johnson, the then 29-year-old mother of 2 who went missing from Kankakee, Illinois in August 1984 and was presumed dead for many years. However, new information came to light in 2020 when remains were found in Pembroke Township, located about 20 miles southeast of Kankakee, and were determined to belong to Jeanette. So they're saying now Cold Justice Team is hoping to help the police department find answers in this unsolved mystery. How's that? Finding remains all those years ago, and they couldn't verify that it was her for 3 decades or something. Apparently, deer hunters found her body, and her body had been partially buried and partially scattered by, I'm guessing, wild animals by the time they found it. And I think, probably whatever evidence was there was no longer there anymore. So it says, who was Jeanette Johnson? Jeanette Johnson, a 29-year-old mother of two, was described by her own mother, Mary Moore, as a spicy young woman with a fierce sense of determination. And this quote says, "You know, it was her way or the highway, and I know where she got that. I'm still that way." That's a great quote. And I guess that describes her. So it says what happened to her. It says Jeanette Johnson was reported missing out of Kankakee, Illinois, on the on the evening of August 3rd, 1985. 1985. It's almost 1 year after I was born. She was last seen the prior evening when family members saw her parking her vehicle at the rear of her house. There's something about that, and we'll talk about that in a second. I know it's right here. We'll talk about it right now. The following morning, Jeanette's car had been moved to the front of the house where authorities found the car window partially rolled down and her purse inside. Do you think somebody who came home overnight seemed to park their car correctly in the right place in the side of the house would just leave their purse and the car rolled down? I don't think so. I think that's a bit weird. So it says here the case seemingly went cold in the decades following. It wasn't until Jeanette's remains were recovered and identified through DNA in November 2020 that police launched a homicide investigation. The following summer, police, family members, and volunteers came together to search the area of Pembroke Township where her remains were found. As a result of the search, Jeanette's daughter, Jarethra, or Jarethra, I'm going to pronounce that wrong. I'm sorry, my friend. She told the Daily Journal, "One of the questions was answered, where it happened. We still need to learn the who, what, when, and why." Horrible. Horrible that she's had to wait since she was a young girl to find out what happened to her mom. All right, so that's like the basic outline of the case. The episode tonight focused on who could have hurt her, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the main suspect. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That's interesting that they had that weird link that didn't have the correct details on it. I find that a bit odd. All right, let's change to this one. Yeah. Woman stops at nothing to solve mother's 1985 murder decades after positive ID. How sad that it's her daughter taking up the fight to get her mother. Apparently, this all started from a Facebook post or a social media post that I wish I could pronounce this properly, Jorethra, or if someone has a better pronunciation of her name, let me know because I want to do her respect while we're reading about this. She wrote a Facebook post basically calling out the local PD, saying, I don't think you give a crap about my mom. It's been, 38 years. You haven't done crap in solving it. Does anyone even care at the police station? Like, do you even really care about my mom? And what are you going to do about trying to solve it? And I thought that was pretty moving. So it says, an 11-year-old child missed her mother's killer by only moments during a time she was supposed to be asleep. Now, 38 years later, she hopes her mother's 1985 homicide may finally be solved with the with the help of cold justice. Ping, you got to speak properly. This was my world. She was my world, apparently, she said. How sad. I can't imagine her losing her mum at that age. And it says, could Kelly Siegler and her team help? Here's Jeanette's last sighting. On the night of August 2nd, 1985, Jeanette Johnson attended a birthday celebration at the Party House Bar in Kankakee, Illinois, about an hour's car ride south of Chicago. Her sister agreed to watch Johnson's 11-year-old daughter Hampton and a couple of Hampton's cousins. Hampton's aunt sent the children to bed, but they disobeyed, getting up when they heard Johnson return home between 2:30 a.m. and 3 a.m. This is very important. Hampton raced to her mother's bed and pretended to be asleep, though she eventually fell asleep and didn't wake till the following day. She last heard her mother's keys at the front door, though Johnson never made it inside the home. She says, I miss her hugs. I miss her telling us how much she loved us. I can't imagine how much that would hurt to not have your mum around. It says here, months later, on November 24th, 1985, deer hunters stumbled upon Johnson's skeletal remains in a rural part of Kankakee County. However, it would take decades to make an identification, and in November 2020, DNA proved the body positively identified belonging to Johnson, according to the Kankakee Police Department. They said she's been dealing with this for approximately 38 years. She says, I just want closure, not only for her, but for her family and her friends. So it says Detective Sergeant Anderson took on Johnson's case after Hampton appealed to the public via social media, stating law enforcement hadn't taken the case seriously enough. Anderson and Siegler, with the help of homicide investigator Steve Spignola and Todd Coroner, I hope that's his name, wanted to get to the bottom of who possibly killed Jeanette Johnson. So the evidence is there's her with her mum's either memorial or grave. I'm not sure which one that is. Let's see. Doesn't say. Because she was found in that other place and then they buried her at a cemetery. So it says Hampton recalled that in the hours leading up to her mother's disappearance, Johnson's on again and off again boyfriend of 3 years, Lionel Thomas, visited the home 3 times while Johnson was at a party. Thompson reportedly inquired when Johnson would return. Her daughter said this happened less than an hour between Thomas's third and final visit and when the kids heard Johnson return home. Hampton and the other children peeked outside the window and watched her park her car in the side alley, which was typical for the mother of 2. However, the following day, the vehicle was found parked out the front of the house, which seemed odd. Additionally, Johnson's wallet was left on the passenger seat and a cigarette had been left to burn in the ashtray, leaving a long column of ash. The keys had also been left in the ignition. Anyone who returned their car home, if it was them, would not leave their, belongings on a passenger seat, not in Chicago, not in South Chicago, and no one's going to leave a window down because that car's probably not going to be there in the morning. It's weird that they did that. Maybe they were hoping the car would be stolen to hide evidence. I don't know, but it did end up staying there overnight. It says the fact that Jeanette's car was parked in a different spot the next morning when everyone woke up suggests that somebody brought the car back after she was probably killed and disposed of. But who would do that and why would they do that? Well, it comes back to her on and off again boyfriend of 3 years, Lionel Thomas. He was a lot. He was very possessive of her, almost borderline stalking of her. Didn't want her to. She wanted to end the relationship. He wanted to keep going. They were having a disagreement whether their relationship should keep going, and he kept coming back to the house and being possessive. When will she be home? When can I talk to her? And her mother sent him away, basically like, go away. My daughter doesn't want to talk to you. Piss off. And he didn't give up. Now, they interviewed him as part of the show. They actually were able to get a hold of him, got him into a car for an interview. And when they do these interviews with potential suspects, they want to make sure they get all the questions. They want to make sure they tie up any loose ends and see if they can trip up the killer. In this particular case, the killer did everything right, and it doesn't look like it's a real hard one. It looked like he actually answered the questions quite well, had a couple of slip ups, but they put that down to 38 years of time might fuzzy people's memories, right? And unfortunately, he did really well for the majority of that high pressure interview that they tried to conduct. Didn't really produce anything different and didn't give them anything they could use, basically. They were very disappointed in that interview by what I watched of that episode. I really think they were hinging a lot on. I think they wanted to try and lay a trap and see if he'd walk into it and give them different information to what he's always given. But apparently, the interview on the show matched pretty closely to every other interview he's ever given of the night in question. The one difference was here. They said that people witnessed him return to the home like 3 times. he's adamant he only went there once. That's the one discrepancy that they're unable to sort of come to a conclusion on, why he only says once and they say, 3 times. So that's the one thing they, but apparently he's always said he only went there once, and they've always said he went there 3 times. So it's not a discrepancy from when he was first interviewed, several years ago. Unfortunately, it's disappointing. They, I'm going to cut it a little short because there's not a lot left into here. The end of the show, they bring back all the information. They have a look through some journal entries. They were supposed to go to he wanted her to go to a Shaka Khan concert the next day, the day after the night he was at the home. She was out at a party. And that's why he was there. He was harassing her to see, come to that concert. I want you to come to that concert. And they're pretty sure it's him. They just don't have what they consider, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt evidence, I guess. Something they can take to the DA and meet that burden of proof with the DA. And at this point in time, they have to keep working on it. It's not the happy ending of an episode I think everyone was hoping for, especially where it started out so interesting with the daughter writing a Facebook post basically trying to push something into action. But I can tell you a little bit here. A 1989 jury inquest said, and plus the help of Cold Justice, bringing in forensic pathologist Catherine Pineri, concluded Johnson likely sustained a gunshot wound to the head, and it remained unclear, however, if the purported gunshot was the cause of death, and the manner of death was concluded to be homicides. Neither the bullet nor the casing were ever recovered. That's a shame. And they couldn't even find the bullet or the casing, but being how she was out there in the elements, for 2 months, 3 months, out in just, in the partially half buried, partially not buried. I mean, they also tested fingernail cuttings from her remains when they were found. Again, nothing of use to the investigation, but they expected that was probably going to be the case because of how long the body had been in the elements. So a real disappointing episode, and I hate these episodes because you can see how upset the family is. They put a lot of hope into shows like this. I think they think they've seen miracles on other episodes of the show where they get an arrest. Just last week, we had someone arrested and charged over an old murder, and they go, "Well, that can be us. That can be our family. How do we get this done?" And I know it's a long road to get on the show, and it's not an easy process to get a police department to allow the TV show into their files and to film for a week. And so it's a lot of false hope is what I would say leading up to it. It's very sad. But I can tell you a little bit about the suspect here that they had on the show. It's Lionel Thomas was a local photographer who lived about 5 to 6 blocks from the victim's home. This is one of the key bits they were looking at as well. He almost lived a straight line from where the victim's home is to his home, and they're saying he could have easily snuck that car back to the front of the home, dropped it off, and then easily got back to his own home in just like a few minutes. Maybe he ran and it was under 5 minutes. So they're saying that's a pretty easy escape path for someone that dropped that vehicle back. And it says here, here's a bit about they wouldn't allow him to see her. So it says Hampton's late grandmother wouldn't allow Hampton to see Thomas, but after Hampton turned 18, she formed a relationship with her mother's old boyfriend. According to Hampton, Thomas became something of a father figure. Hampton told Siegler, "I allowed myself to get so caught up in this man, I lost focus, and I just accepted him still in my life." Hampton wondered if Thomas had something to do with Johnson's murder. And this is a quote, "Why did you take her from us? And why did you keep me as a souvenir all these years?" That's a really spooky line to me. Why did you keep me as a souvenir all these years? Maybe it's also like he can look back at what he did. I don't know. So it says, looking back at Thomas and Johnson's relationship, investigators examined a series of letters Thomas had written to Johnson. As gleaned from the writing and witnesses, the couple had plans to attend a Shaka Khan concert just one day after Johnson disappeared. But perhaps even more significant, it appeared Thomas might have grown jealous after Johnson broke things off for the last time. Seems they had a very sort of tumultuous relationship, off again, on again. He'd do something like really, possessive, and she'd want to be away from him. Somehow he'd get her back, and then they'd be okay for a couple of weeks, and then they'd break up again, and he kept pulling her back in, I think. It says investigators agreed the writing suggested borderline stalking took place, and at one point, Thomas called Johnson an evil woman with a cold heart after she wanted to put an end to their romance. Brutal. You say that to someone who's supposed to be in a relationship and you want to love them and go to Shaka Khan together. That's exactly what you say to them, right? You're an evil woman with a cold heart. Yes, I say that to all the women I want to take on dates. It works every time. Let me see. Sorry, I've been talking for ages. I'm trying to get through so much information here. I want to say hello to everyone. Did I say hello to everyone? No, I didn't. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, everyone. Let me go back. Let's have a break for a second so I can say hello to everyone. Sean, hey Sean, Maria, Marlene Clausen is here. Gambler's here. Lindy. I Hate Mornings is here. Oh, you guys, this is when we're back when we're talking about the. Hey Marjorie. I'm just trying to pick a few names. Hold on. Vicky's here. Hey, Vicky. Catatonic. Young Ping. Is that a new show coming out on CBS? Young Ping. Hey, Gambler. The Journey to Justice. Penguin's here. Hey, Penguin. How are you? Joel Ezra. All right. Thank you for the pronunciation. Let me put that on the screen. I'll pick it up in a second. Hold on. The Aussies are MIA. Yeah, I don't know where they are tonight. Hey, Kim. How are you? Read above. Read above. What am I reading about? What am I reading about? I don't know what I'm reading about. I don't know what we're reading about. Did you just say that Nana Lana missed the bus? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I don't know. She's probably away. It's the weekend. Who knows what she's doing? Hey, Four Sons Mom. How are you? Oh my god, you got a new profile photo with the dog. Hey, Sienna. Good to see you. Yeah, hold on, guys. Give me a second. Let me backtrack on this for a second. Let me go back up here. I just want to. We can go back to that last bit. I just want to grab something. Where is it? Jeanette Johnson. All right. There was an old article, and I wanted to show it to you. Where is it? Uh-huh. Okay. I've got it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch something and turn something. Hold on. All right. I'm going to go back to that pronunciation in a second because, like, I'm terrible with it, and I want to make sure I get her name right. Penguin says, I'm in bed. Is it cold? Is that why you're in bed? Or is it just late? I'm sorry it's so late. I wanted to show you this. Let's switch to this page for a second. I hope you guys can see this. This was when she was put to rest. Jeanette Johnson was put to rest after 35 years of the unknown. And this is her daughter here. She was on the show. This is the one that I can't pronounce her name, and you guys just gave me the pronunciation for it. I should have looked it up before the show. Ping, please suck less. Uh, yeah, this is when they put her to rest. So that's that plaque. You can see this in that other photo down here. There's this little plaque, and that photo is on the other page. That's why I wanted to show you. So this is when they finally got to put her to rest after, a long, long time of not knowing. Let's show you that other photo of, yeah, here. It's I must be taken at a different time, which I'm guessing she visits her mum's grave a lot, or memorial plaque. It's very flat, isn't it? You can see behind her, it's very wide open space. So I'm not sure if this is where they found her body, or this is where they, you know, put her to rest. It doesn't say. I'm going to read this article and I'll see what it says. No, it says Jeanette Johnson was laid to rest by her family Saturday, nearly 38 years after having gone missing. It says, what location is this? Oh, private burial at Evergreen Cemetery. Evergreen Cemetery. So it is a cemetery. It's not the place where her body was found. Oh, it's really nice. Apparently, at the time, they held a balloon release in Johnson's memory near the family's original home in the 600 block of Oak Street. Hampton said it was time to move ahead. Yeah, she also says that in the episode. She says that basically she's done everything she can do to push the case forward without distracting from her own life, and that it's up to police now to take that baton and find her mother's killer and bring them to justice, that she can't do it anymore. Like, it's taking away from her, like, quality of her life now. So the person who took her mom away is now damaging a second person's life many decades later, because of her trying to get a pursuit for justice for her mom. And she said, now I have to pass it on to the detectives. Not, I don't think, not that she'll ever stop fighting for her mom. I just don't think she can put every ounce of energy of her life into it. From here on out, she has to let the police do their job and let them have a go. And she can't be the, head cheerleader constantly. She has to live her life too. And I thought that was a really hard moment in the show, actually, to witness her saying that. But she seemed very thankful for the detectives, that anyone was looking into what happened to her mum. She said it felt like, basically the police just wrote it off, didn't really care, didn't want to find her mum's killer because it was just too hard, and I get that sentiment from them. Let's see. Apparently, when Johnson's mother, Mary Moore, died in February 2021, 3 days before she passed, Hampton talked with her regarding the continued search of Johnson's answers in Johnson's death. She said she was at peace and that God had chose me to take this to the end. Hampton said her faith had been a bedrock. She said, God gave me the torch and he has blown out the torch. He told me it is time to leave it to them, the police, to complete the journey. Yeah, she had a similar sentiment tonight on the show too, that she's done her job, like she's done her advocacy for her mom as best she can, and that police are now the ones that can take it to the finish line, not her. And I sort of agree with that after watching the episode. I believe they don't have too much left to go. They've got to cut. They just need that one person. If they can find that one person that can say Lionel Thomas was, I don't know, at the burial site the night of, I saw him at that field. He wasn't at XYZ location where he said he was. Something like that they could bring to court, that wasn't hearsay, that wasn't second or third hand information. I think they might have something. But right now, they just don't have enough. At the end of the show, when they did sort of like a poll of the room, They went around the room. They asked the detectives, do you believe right now, the way the case sits, you could take this to your DA and get a warrant for murder? And they both said, not at this point. They said it doesn't pass that threshold to be able to, basically hold water. They're just not able, it just doesn't get to that point. That's very sad. Very sad. Because like I said before, I think families put a lot of hope into these shows that they will get the justice for them that they haven't been able to get so far. All right, let's move on. Let's go back down to here to Lionel's stuff. Okay, so it says Thomas alleged 2021 comments. So this is very interesting. It says Siegel and the team revisited many witnesses from the night Johnson went to the party house, including different friends. They also spoke with people Hampton was with that night, including Johnson's sister and babysitter, Jane Lynette Evans, who'd fallen asleep on the couch when Johnson reportedly made it to the front door. Some said Thompson reportedly showed up wherever Johnson was, and while Johnson's cousin, Estine Hill, called Thomas creepy and weird. Is that the label that you hope for in life? That people who don't really know you that well but sort of know you call you creepy and weird. That's a strange thing to remember about someone all these years later. It must have stuck in her head. They said still nothing directly tied to Johnson's murder. In 2021, Detective Sergeant Anderson asked for the public's help after orchestrating a search in the area where hunters discovered Johnson's body. In the quote here says, the actual reason for that search was to see if any of the people that the police department identified as suspects would show up and what their reactions would be to that search. That's a bit of mind games from the police department, right? It says, Gia Wright of the Missing Persons Awareness Network told investigators Thomas arrived and walked with her. According to Wright, Thomas said he'd been in the area many times, including when photographing weddings as part of his job. According to Spignola, it wouldn't be uncommon for a killer to hide bodies within their comfort zone. It says the cold justice team confronts their prime suspect. There's a photo of her from her memorial, from her, I'm guessing, a private ceremony from her funeral. So there you go. What a lovely looking lady. Full of life in that photo. So they're saying this is where they talk about the fingernails. So the team had experts conduct a new DNA analysis from underneath Johnson's fingernails, but alas, nothing was discovered. They hoped that visiting Thomas face-to-face would get them closer to closing the case. Nope, we talked about it a bit earlier. He did really well in the interview, didn't really deviate from his previous known statements. And they said he was quite calm during the interview, which doesn't really tell them one way or the other as such. Yeah. Here's a quote. This case basically rests on what Lionel is going to tell us. We don't have enough to indict him right now or charge him with a crime. Let's face it, a lot of evidence here points to him, but it doesn't exactly eliminate other suspects. And I think that's still the case today. They can't fully point to him, and they can't fully exclude a couple of other scenarios either. Let me see if there's anything else here. I don't want to keep going over the same information. Here, is there enough to charge Lionel Thomas? Investigators look back at the evidence, including Johnson's parked car, Thomas's letters to Johnson, and Johnson's contradicting statements to authorities. Lionel's whole story has basically small contradictions in it, but there's no major shifts in his story. This was a big thing they focused on, which is problematic from a prosecution standpoint. Yes, because if you go to trial, any competent, defense attorney is going to show you, hey, this guy, my client, has never wavered from his story. He has told you the same thing from day one, and that is going to be a hard case to push through the court system. It says, ultimately, investigators agreed the case against Lionel Thomas didn't meet the threshold to bring the case before prosecutors for now. It says Thomas would not be charged in connection with Jeanette Johnson's disappearance and homicide. They said it's really hard in cases like this where you just don't have enough for probable cause or to try and get a DA to move forward. One day something could come along to make this case a whole lot better. That's what we all hope for. That was from Kelly Siegler at the end of the show. They said, still, while the team remained frustrated, Johnson's daughter remained hopeful that the case would continue. She thanked law enforcement for reopening their investigation. She said, "We will not be having any arrests at this moment. That's okay. My mother wouldn't have given up on us, so I couldn't give up on her. But my journey here has stopped." Yeah, like I said before, and she was even quoted in like 2021 as saying the same thing. She's pushed the case as far as she can from a family standpoint, from someone who's not directly a homicide detective. She feels that she'll keep cheering it on, but she can't be the one to push it forward. It has to be the police. And that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Let me see what you guys have to say. Vicky, Vicky says, "Stop it, Ping. You're wonderful." Thank you. It's very kind. I need to get better at the pronunciations of people, okay? I need to. I was going to talk to you about that briefly. When you look at something you make, like for me, it's this channel, these shows, you have to go, what am I crap at? Like, what's the worst thing I do on this show? And for me, it's the pronunciations of words I can't get right, or don't have time to research fully beforehand or whatever, and I get wrong. To me, that's the biggest bugbear here on this show, and I hate it. So I'm going to get better at that. It can only make the show better, right? Right. So I'm going to get better at that. I did research the town. I just forgot to research her name. Uh, Bless her heart. Yeah, I hate that about that. Her daughter feels like she can't be the one to be the fighter for it. She can be there to cheer it on if it ever makes it to court. She can be the one who can sit in court if it ever happens, but she can't be the one to be out there every single day. It has to be the police. They're the only ones who can drive it forward for her mum. There's a photo of her mum, Jeanette Johnson. That is so sad. And we speak a lot about cases that involve people of color not getting the attention they deserve. But it was nice to have one on Cold Justice tonight. And what does it say here about her? That's went really massive here. Yeah, what does it say? Oh, I can barely read that. 11th of the 19th of the 11th, 36? August 8th or 9th, 1985? Is that what it says? Saturday, May 28th, 2022. So that was only just under 11 months ago that they had this private ceremony for her. 11 months ago. Probably not too long after Cold Justice was actually there. They were either there, sorry, just after. I think they were there in August or September. So only a few months after they had the ceremony for her, that Cold Justice rocked up. So that would have been quite emotional. Yeah, it sucks when you can't get a case across the line. It really does. Uh, I don't know where they go from here. Is it one of the ones that they never solve? There's been a few on Cold Justice that they just never get there. Or is it they're hoping that with this episode being made, it'll be shown on TV for many years to come. They always show replays of episodes. Maybe someone sees it and goes, "Hey, you know what? I saw that guy. I was around back then and I saw him. I should call this police department and tell them what I know." It's probably nothing, but I should call them. If you are that person, call them. Call that police department and tell them what you know. You may be the key to solving it all. Who knows? But I'm sure they're looking for someone who saw him. Saw him after the car was first came home the first time and she parked at the side of the house. And then when it came back the second time and the car was parked on the front of the house on the road, if you're out there and you saw either of those, if you saw Lionel between either of those points, between when the car was parked on the side and then at the front, very early hours of the morning, you could be the key to solving the case and bringing some justice to a nice family who deserves it. They really deserve some help from a stranger that might have information. They really do. I hate cases like this, to be honest, but hey, nothing in life is perfect, is it? Sometimes you gotta take the hard way. So maybe that's what's gonna happen here. They'll have to take the hard way, but they'll get there eventually. Yeah, a very thin case. Very thin. So I don't know what you guys think. There's a photo of her daughter again at the gravesite. And how come it's always deer hunters? It's always deer hunters or mushroom pickers. They find all the bodies, don't they? See, months later, on November 24th, 1985, deer hunters stumbled upon Johnson's skeletal remains in rural part of the county. It's always deer hunters or mushroom people. Sorry, not mushroom people, mushroom hunters. Mushroom people are like a different thing. Let's see. All right, that's it for that. Let me see if I have anything else here. Just trying to see if there's anything else on this website here. Okay. I can't make that. There's another photo of her, by the way. Very old photo. When she was maybe a bit younger. Maybe a bit younger than in the photo. It's a really nice photo, though. Let's see what this says. The family of Jeanette Johnson describes her as a lovable person without enemies. The mother of two was living in. Uh, now I've gone blank again. I just said it like 40 times. Ping, come on. You gotta be better. I'm just gonna say the county for now. I'm just gonna say Illinois. At the time of her disappearance, on the evening of August 3rd, 1985, Jeanette visited the Party House Bar on Wildwood Avenue before making her way home. Both Janet's young daughter and her niece claim they saw a 29-year-old park a car in the backyard of their house, lock the vehicle, and walk towards the residence. Jeanette Johnson has never been seen or heard from again. That must be the hardest thing for those kids to have in their mind, that they saw her so close to the house, keys out, about to enter the home, leave the vehicle, and then never seen again. It must have really felt like a UFO abduction to them. So it says it's unclear whether or not Jeanette actually made it inside her home. Investigators inspected Jeanette's vehicle and found a cigarette in the ashtray. This was interesting. Is there no way? I can't remember if they don't think they DNA tested this on the show. At least I don't think so, or I missed it. It says Jeanette's coat and purse, and one window was still partially rolled down. Back in 2015, Jeanette's family sat down with the Daily Journal to honor and share more about Jeanette. They said, it was her way or the highway, and I know where she got it. I'm still that way. Yeah, we read that quote before. See, somebody out there knows something. Maybe it's time for them to tell. It's been almost 40 years. I think it is time for them to tell. If you're still on this earth, you can call it into that PD and get some justice for this family. Says Her daughter says, I can still see her walking to that back gate there, coming home. I have always thought that she would come home one day, and I can still see it. I would throw my arms around her and lay my head on her bosom and just cry. I wouldn't ask any questions about what happened. I'd just hug her, and then I'd take her back to the hospital to make sure she was okay, and then we'd talk again. She added, maybe, somehow, this story would get to my mother, and maybe she could reach out to us if she knew we still cared. This must have been before they found the body, the remains, or before they positively identified those remains as being from her. How horrible! This was her mindset, and then only like a year or so ago, they positively identified them as her. Wow! So she thought her mum was out there somewhere, and just didn't want to come home. Imagine holding on to that for 36 years of your adult life, that you just think your mum just didn't want to come home, and then to find out, after so long that no, no, your mum's not out there, alive, ignoring you. She's she died the day that she went missing, and someone put her in a, you know, shallow grave and left her there for, to have her bones scattered. That's horrible. That must be a horrible mindset to switch from. Almost everyone liked it. How cool is that? Marjorie, hey, how are you? There's a nice trail by a brook I used to walk with my dog near my house. I avoided going for walks there alone lately, and I think it's because I'm afraid of what I might find there. Ugh. Actually, I'm going to show you something that has to do with that subject in a second. It has nothing to do with cold justice. We're just about done with that. But yes, we'll talk about more about that in a second. Can you watch Cold Justice in Oz? Yes, two ways. Foxtel does show episodes on Fox 8, but they're older episodes. Channel 7 or 9 actually shows Oxygen Network TV shows, but I don't know if they have Cold Justice, the latest series. They actually got contracted to show E! Entertainment, but also by extension NBC, Universal, and Oxygen. But I just don't know if they have the newer season. Uh, Sean, email me. I'll show you how to watch it. Just email me. I'll figure it out. I'll show you. I'll show you where you can watch it every week. Okay? Legally, very legally, highly legally. I'll show you. Uh, let's see. Laura T, hey, how are you, my friend? I heard a podcast today and the lady said prison purse, and I thought of Ping. uh, I'm glad to be your dictionary of naughty words. Hey, Beth, how are you? Danny Mitchell's here. Oh my god, a celebrity. Oh my god. I'm so embarrassed to miss his name of a celebrity. How could I? Let me see. All right, let's move on. That was a really interesting episode, but not my favorite of Cold Justice. I don't like when they can't get some justice for people. It's half of the title of the show. The title is Cold Justice, Cold Case Justice. Come on, we've got to get some more justice on the show. And that would have been really great. Maybe in the future we'll get a catch up episode and we'll find out that someone came forward after viewing the episode and gave that little piece of information that got the killer in this particular case. If I hear more on this, I'll bring it to you tomorrow night. Uh, the replay for it won't be out until the morning. So until that's out, I can't replay the episode to get more and more information because it takes a couple of watches to, really go through it and dissect things. So I may have a little bit more information tomorrow for you. Okay, just hold on to that. Hold on to that. All right. Let's move on to two stories out of Victoria, Australia right now. Real disturbing stories. Yesterday afternoon, there was a weird update that came through. A real weird update. They said they had found a body in a bin in a random property in a rural place in Western Melbourne. They were just like, it was 110 degrees out there yesterday. 110 degrees. And they were like, yeah, we found a body in a locked rubbish bin. They said people who had been walking in the area recently could smell it, and they thought it was a dead sheep or a pig, but it ended up being a human body, a female body, a woman. And we're going to talk about that case. Hold on. Let me grab the story about this lady. It didn't take too long. The information came up pretty quickly, actually, within a few hours. All right, there we go. All right. Don't play that music. So this was a big story out of Victoria yesterday. It says grim photos reveal the horrific scene where a young mother's body was found inside a wheelie bin on an isolated road. Now, we've been speaking about Samantha Murphy for a really long time, right? Over a month. And so this graphic warning, by the way, this is graphic. I know this is just a bin, a photo of a bin, but some people find that quite disturbing when they know there was a body inside. All right. We have more names that Ping can't pronounce. That's great. So it says photos taken at the site with a bin with a green lid, half hidden in bushland besides a crumpled bundle of white material, is laying on the ground nearby. When police arrived at the isolated road, they found the body of young mother of one had been placed inside that bin. Inside this bin, this is the type of bins we use for rubbish collection in Australia. Green bin normally means like, I think it means like, normally like grass clippings and things like that, not bodies. It's not a bin to put remains in. It says sources with knowledge of the investigation told the Herald Sun her husband flew back to India in recent days with the couple's son. So for a few hours, we just knew there was a female body in a bin. That's all sort of the information that was around. This photo wasn't even there. They just showed, where is it? I'll show you if I can. There was just a photo of them standing at a police tape. No, they don't have it on this article. It's just that's all there was for like 5 hours, and then it started to leak these photos of a house in Point Cook, and they were saying that the body had been, linked to this property, and then I saw on Twitter someone who knew the woman wrote, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here. Someone that knew the woman actually posted on Twitter before the media did and said that her husband had flown back to India in recent days with the couple's son. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oh my God, he killed her. Oh my God, he killed her and fled the country. And I was like, oh, geez, that's horrible. It says, apparently her husband rang family members in Victoria, gave them information about her death before agreeing to cooperate with the police investigation. Apparently, while he's not been accused of any wrongdoing, we're not accusing him either. We never accuse people. We're just reading articles here. Just reading articles. 2 crime scenes have now been established, one at Mount Pollock Road and a second at a residential address in Merker Watt in Point Cook. I'm probably saying that wrong to my friends in Point Cook, southwest in Melbourne. The sites are about 82 kilometers apart. A police spokesman confirmed the line of investigation at the second scene was linked to the deceased woman. Wait, the line of investigation? Yeah, okay. All right, we'll use that word. There you go. There's a forensic police officer taking photos of the house and car. I want to find something. Hold on. I want to show you a little bit more about this lady, though, and I want to find out how to pronounce her name correctly. She has a great name, and we should say it correctly. So give me a second. What is going on? Let me find you a news video we can watch. Yes, I have one.
The body of a Point Cook woman has been found dumped in a wheelie bin on the side of a country road west of Geelong. Friends say the woman's husband recently flew to India with their son. before police received an anonymous tip.
A gruesome discovery on the side of a rural road near Geelong. A woman's body stuffed inside a wheelie bin and tied with a string. Police were tipped off by an anonymous phone call this morning.
Never seen a wheelie bin laying in there. And I go up and down here quite often shooting rabbits. Just missed being on my land by a couple of metres.
The body was found on Mount Pollack Road in Buckley near Winchelsea, 30 kilometres west of Geelong. The road was blocked off, neighbours shocked.
There's might be 3 or 4 or 5 cars a day down here, that's all. Doesn't go anywhere down there. It's a dead end down that end.
By this afternoon, a second crime scene was established in Point Cook at the home of Ashok Raj and Shweta Madhagni. Friends of the married couple told 7 News Ashok Raj had flown to India with the couple's young son and says Shweta's body was inside the bin. The quiet town shocked by what was discovered.
No, it's something Buckley's never seen for a long time, or ever, that I know of.
Homicide detectives arrived at Mount Pollack Road late this afternoon. It's still not known how the woman's body got here or how long it's been on the side of the road. Police say they are treating Shweta's death as suspicious, but no arrests have been made. Geordie Wright, 7 News.
There you go. So, Trish, you don't have to do that. She just emailed me saying, I told her that I was running late by half an hour tonight, and she did something very nice. All right. So I'm going to try to pronounce her name. I wanted to give her the most utmost respect because, like, that's the least we can do, right? We talk about these horrible stories. The least we can do is say their names correctly. All right. If I can make it back to the story that we're on. I'm going to pronounce her name. I'm going to butcher it. I know I am. They said it in the news report as Shweta. There we go. Madhagani. There you go. Shweta Madhagani was on Saturday found inside a green waste bin at Buckley. Police found the body around noon in a paddock off Mount Pollack Road in Buckley. And it said Eric Lewis, who owns land either side of where the body was found, I think that's that guy you just saw on the news report, said he was flabbergasted by the discovery of the woman's body. He said, "What is happening here in Buckley? I just can't believe it." Did he say that he goes shooting rabbits on the land? He's a very old school type of bloke. He's still shooting rabbits in his spare time. Pretty good for an old fella. He's still clocking rabbits at 50 yards out. He's doing well. It says a local resident who did not want to be named said he and his wife had been out walking in the area on Friday and noticed a pungent smell, which they presumed was a dead sheep. They were wrong. Sources with the knowledge of the investigation told the Herald Sun Sunday Herald Sun Sunday Herald Sun. Shweta's husband, Ashok, flew back to India in recent days with the couple's son. He rang family members in Victoria, gave them information about her death. He is understood to be under immense family pressure to return to Australia and has told police he is willing to cooperate with authorities. Investigators are yet to determine the precise circumstances of Shweta's, but the Sunday Herald Sun confirmed the wheelie bin had been locked shut. The couple's Point Cook home on Saturday was declared a crime scene. A neighbor and longtime friend of hers said she was shocked to hear what happened. She was one of the sweetest girls ever, she said. Everyone would want to have Shweta in their lives. The neighbor had known the young Point Cook couple as they built their homes around similar times. She became tearful as she recounted how the woman would make her food and how she was a beautiful mother to the couple's young son. She was full of life. I can't believe she's gone. Her life is lost. It's worse. She was found somewhere else. We all deserve dignity. That's true. I still just don't understand how. Let's theoretically, if someone, not saying who, put her body out in the middle of a paddock on a 40-degree day, one of the hottest days of summer, that's not respect. And I think if you kill someone, you're showing them the ultimate lack of respect. But I just don't understand how people do that to someone you're supposedly loved. You know, far too much. We're seeing women killed in domestic relationships. It could be this. Could maybe someone broke into their home and killed her. I don't know. Seems like very far fetched. But at the moment, we can't see anything else. Apparently, that's her husband, Ashok Raj, and Shweta Matagani. There you go. The neighbor had no. Yep, we know that. Yeah. So there you go. Her body was found, but yeah, news trickled in late yesterday while I was coming back from the family gathering, and I wanted to show you this story because I can't remember the last time I ever saw something like this in Melbourne, especially to a immigrant family like this. Oh, damn it. Come on. Come on, StreamYard. You have to cooperate. Here's sort of the scene. You guys can see there's that green bin. Look at the area, very desolate. Only like people, they said like 5 cars a day ever go down that road. So he picked a good spot, but it was picked up pretty quickly. You know what picked it up? It was the fact that it was this green color bin and that people were like, why is there a green bin there? People picked up because it looked out of place. Yeah, this is a photo that was all over the thing yesterday. You can get a great outlook of what this area looked like, of where they found that wheelie bin. More cops. Just trying to see if there's anything else on it. I don't think so. Think they'll be very keen to interview some more people about this as urgently as they can. I'm just trying to see if there's any more. Doesn't seem like there's any more information about her. Sorry. I'm just trying to Google something and see if there's a more latest article that we could have a look at. It says tributes to Melbourne mum whose body found in a bin on isolated stretch of road. Friends have described Miss Matagani as a perfect woman and a perfect mother who lived for her young son. She would often cook and share food and invite people into her home. She was very, a great host, apparently. A lot of people thought it was Samantha Murphy. I heard a bunch of people on social media saying, "Oh my God, it's Samantha! It's Samantha!" No, it wasn't Samantha. Wrong area and way far away from the target area of where Samantha is. About an hour or two, like further away. I mean, possible, but unlikely. It says here, he reportedly rang family members in Victoria once he got to India to tell them about Miss Matagani's death. How does that work? So did he have prior knowledge of her death? Or did he pretend to be like, oh my God, the cops rang me when I landed in India and they told me that they found my wife in a wheelie bin in a field? I want to know how that works. The Herald Sun also reported that he has stated he is willing to cooperate with authorities. It is not suggested that he was any way involved in the death of his wife. Fair enough. Innocent until proven guilty, or whatever, or even made a suspect. It says Eric Lewis, who owns the land. Yeah, we read about him. That's horrible. That quote about thinking that it was a dead sheep. Horrible. I think that's about it. Because it's a weekend, we're probably not going to get anything more on this until probably Monday morning. The cops work a little slow down here. I mean, I guess it happens in the US as well. They don't tend to do anything until Monday morning when the media comes back and they start doing press conferences again. So we're going to have to leave this here, unfortunately. There's a photo of her. I know they're in contact with him in wherever he landed, but that's probably about it. Sean says rabbit is expensive, $30 each. I think it's because no one sells them anymore, or no one uses them. Not uses them. That's the wrong word. No one buys it, I don't think. Geez. Sean, I didn't see that update, but thank you. Sean, yeah. So Sean just emailed me and said Foxtel has Cold Justice. They do, but I don't know if they have the latest episodes. You might have to look if they have episode 7. I mean, season 7. Well, hey, Trish. You didn't have to do that. Appreciate it, though. Sean says, I saw a wheelie bin at the bottom of Lake Parramatta while snorkeling. Now you have me. Yeah, maybe you should have checked it, Sean, or brought it to shore. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Marjorie says, are rabbits still a scourge in Australia? More up north. Rabbits are a big issue. More like Queensland, Northern Territory, WA. You're not allowed to legally own a rabbit, I don't think, in Queensland, right? You can't even have one as a pet. You can't have a ferret, and there's huge fines if you bring them across the border. If you bring a rabbit or a ferret or any type of animal across the Queensland border, I think you can get in huge amounts of trouble. Let me see. They consider it an invasive species. Can you have a pet rabbit in Queensland? Pet rabbits are banned in Queensland, and it is an offence to keep any variety as a pet. The penalty for illegally keeping rabbits is $71,000 fine per animal. Wild rabbits are declared pests, and landowners must take steps to manage rabbits on their property. So there you go. You cannot have rabbits in Queensland. Yeah, they have there's a movie called Rabbit Proof Fence based on, well, not based on that, but there's a reason it's called that. Sean says Trish is on 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving. No. She'll be on in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And then we'll get off. We'll get out of here. Will I be doing a late show tonight? Yeah, I think we'll try. I've got so much more to talk about. Wait, what's that? They're still saying that the guy who has been arrested. By the way, I'd like to read out a couple of comments. Aussie, who was it that told me something about this? Where is that person? Let me find Aussie Tad. Hey, Aussie Tad. Thanks for your comment. Aussie Tad said, thanks for keeping us updated on Samantha. But it's Stephenson and an N in the middle. Didn't I say Stephenson? I just think I say it like a little weird. Yeah, Stephenson. Yeah, there you go. There's an N there. There's just no A. Oh, wait, A? I don't know. Whatever other letter we were talking about the other day. But Patrick Oren Stephenson, 22, reserved his right to remain silent since he was charged with Miss Murphy's murder last Thursday. It's understood he has repeatedly refused to cooperate with police and has given no indication to where Miss Murphy's remains could be. He was arrested in Scottsburn. I read some interesting stuff about him yesterday too. See if it's in this article. There's another photo of him. Oh, yes, sorry. I know what I was wanting to talk about now. Apparently, information that came out since I last spoke to you, apparently he was on a bender the night before. he'd been drinking and taking drugs the entire night before Samantha went missing. So there's a good possibility some of our theories might be right. Sean says, "It's your Spanish accent, Ping. So funny on last replay." That's right, it is my Spanish accent. It gets so thick sometimes, I can't control it. I mean, it's a strange heritage to have. Okay. I think we should wind up here. Not here, in about 10 minutes, and then we'll get you over to Trisha's for the night. And, yeah, we'll come back for a late show. Whatever time Trish finishes, I'll come back on, and we'll do more casework. I've got another case of a unfortunate person who was murdered in Victoria. So many murders this weekend. I think it's the heat. I think people don't like the heat. So not much more about Samantha. No body at this time, but her killer was on CCTV going to various nightclubs and bars. He was caught on camera doing drugs. So this is going to be really interesting what happens and what the theory of what happened after he left those nightclubs is going to be. I don't know what that could be, but I still wonder if there's a car involved. Like, did he hit her? Did he kill her with a car or something? We'll find out. Here. So here's that information that Sean brought up, which I hadn't seen yet. It says it was first thought there was no connection between the victim and her alleged killer, but it has been subsequently been revealed that Miss Murphy volunteered in the uniform shop of St. Francis Xavier Primary School, where the accused attended the school as a child. It's a real slim. That's really slim. That's a slim, like, sort of crossover of their lives. Police had previously stated that Miss Murphy and Stephenson never met. Okay, sure, but I'm sure we've all met people when we were 5 and that we're like walk past in the shops every day and we're like, oh, yeah, did you used to work in that shop? Had no idea. So I don't know if that's a real connection. I mean, it's interesting. What do you think he did? Kept a grudge for over 20 years? Oh, she didn't give me the school uniform that I wanted. I wanted the one that had the blue collar. I didn't get it, and now I'm gonna kill you. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean, it's an interesting tidbit. It's not like what I would consider a connection. Yeah, maybe. Gambler says, I was going to mention that if he was right out of it, he would likely not be able to attack her, capture her, unless he had a weapon. Maybe. Maybe he used a car as a weapon. Sean says, speculation or not, he may have had a crush on her. We've got to find out more about his background. Like, how did it happen? That type of thing. She may have been more attractive back then. I don't think that's a very kind thing to say. Some people may have found her quite attractive right now. Just because you don't doesn't mean other people might. You know what I mean? Like, she had a husband and produced a bunch of kids. Someone found her hot. Doesn't mean other people might not. So, I don't know. He may have approached her for sex and she refused. What kind of situation do you think this is? What kind of school is this? Some sort of sex school? I have no idea. Sean, I have no idea what you're on about. Gambler says, I thought that was also a stretch. Yeah, I think that's a real slim connection. It's not what I would just, unless they could back it up with something else that had more weight to it, that was more now, like, in the last few years, that would maybe make it more interesting. But something that happened possibly years and years ago, it's a small town. People's lives are bound to intersect and they may not even know it. You're living in not a small town. I mean, Ballarat's a small city really, But, you know, people's lives are gonna intersect and you may never know. You know, it's a maybe there's a chance he didn't even know her back then. Alright. Alright. Well, I know this was a bit of a messy episode. I'm sorry about that. Really wish it was a little cleaner. What does this say? Hold on, my friends. Someone left a comment. Let me check what this says. Oh, it was Catatonic. Catatonic, that's so sweet. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the show. Same to you, Sean. That's very nice. Not at school present. Well, we'll find out when we find out more of his timeline and what he was doing that night. From the time he went out the night before, the 24 hours before that, and then up until 7 a.m. on the day that Samantha went missing. Then we'll find out. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with tonight's show. I think it was more messy than it should have been, but thank you. The headlines attract people to the story. They do. We're going to be back though. I'm going to push you over onto Trisha's channel, and then I'm going to see you guys, I don't know, at, if it's 11 now. I don't know. Whenever she finishes, whenever she feels like she's done enough woo-woo and spooky stories and things like that, we can come back and talk more true crime for the rest of the night, okay? All right, guys. And then tomorrow is Sunday Nights with Ping. We will probably have like a 2.5 hour show tomorrow night. I have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to recap on from a few other weeks. So we've cases we've been following in February that we need updates for. It'll be a really long show tomorrow night. Marlon Clausen says people want to see a connection somehow, because other than that, life it seems so random. Yeah, it does seem a little random with her killing, but something about the 7 a.m. and going for a jog always said to me maybe someone who was drunk, not paying attention, something may have hit her by accident, and then it turned into a like something deliberate. So we'll find out if that theory of mine is true or not, or if it's just, you know, something completely different. All right. I love you all. Thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry about last night. I missed you all yesterday. I just know that it was actually nice to have a day off for once. I had a thought about the show, and that's why I was like, what could we do better on the show? And I was like, if we don't get better and we don't fix, you know, errors or mistakes, and we can't move forward. And I was like, well, the biggest one is the pronunciation of stuff. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. It may be that we don't run random stories, or if we do, you just have to be under the condition that you know that I may mispronounce a whole bunch of them because I haven't had time to research them. But any stories that we do each night, I'm going to go through each and every article, pull out the words that, you know, if there's something there that I'm not 100% sure of, and then I will put it through Google pronunciation or Google Translate or whatever and find the correct syllables for it and get better that way, because we need to tidy that stuff up a little bit. I had a couple complaints. Had a couple people write in saying that it makes it seem unprofessional, Ping. So we will get there. Got to fix those, but we'll get there. Love you guys. Have a great night. Come back if you want after midnight, and we'll do more true crime. But if not, I'll see you tomorrow night for Sunday Nights with Ping, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're probably going to go. Wait, tomorrow's the day you guys are off. No. 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Please. Vicky, that's very kind of you. It's very sweet of you to say, but no. Sunday nights from here on out will move till 10 p.m. no longer 9. It'll be 10 because of the time difference, and I will keep you in up to date on the time thing as we go along into you guys going to summer, us going to winter, and I will keep you in the, informed. All right, guys. Go have fun with Trish, all right? You guys are going to go listen to woo-woo stories and people calling in and telling spooky stuff. So have fun with that, and she'll also throw in some true crime for you. Okay, I'll see you after that tonight. Okay? Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.